Червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну переберемо. Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну переберемо. Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо.
Major news. After days on a razor's edge, Ukraine is now a nation at war. Just hours ago, Russian forces began their attack. President Vladimir Putin warning other countries that any attempt to interfere with the Russian action will lead to, quote, consequences they have never seen.
Ні, 14-й рік не був таким важким і страшним.
Probably the biggest challenge was February 24th, when everybody was shocked. Of course, we were thinking that it might have happened, but nobody believed in it. And when it happened, everybody was thinking, how could that happen in 21st century? And the first thoughts were about safety of your staff, of your family members, how to protect them and how to make sure that they are in safety and safe places.
Там в огород и взорвалась, я ей начал рассказывать это, она типа спрашивает меня, что это такое, я говорю, да, швабра упала.
And one of the moments that he recollects from this period when he stayed on his own and his family was relocated, he talked to his mom on the video call, and suddenly he heard that there was like an explosion not far away from his house, and his mom was asking, what was that? And he said, oh, the broom just dropped.
Ну, она поверила, но так сомневалась немножко, и все было бы ничего, если бы второй снаряд в этот момент не прилетел, но у меня просто двух швабр дома не бывает, поэтому...
So she could have believed his story, but then the second rocket exploded, and he didn't have a second broom to prove to his mom that it was nothing scary.
Играешь себя опасности. Ну, вот ты сидишь и ждешь, чего ждешь, зачем ждешь, непонятно.
So his mom asked him to hide in the basement, and he did hide, but he says that he realized at that moment that there is no point in staying in that place because you just wait and you don't want what will happen and you're not efficient, and you can work from other safer places and do more than you just sit and wait under the shellings.
Чому я в грудні ще сказав, що я ні при яких умовах в окупації жити не буду.
So I had a clear understanding that journalists are the first ones who will be captured by the occupational government. And when I was asked what will be my actions, I told that as soon as city is occupied, I will not stay there.
Хтось брав на ніч нас, хтось допомагав заправляти, хтось там якимись харчами допомагав. Тобто, настільки ми це відчули, цю солідарність, це не на словах. От тоді я зрозумів, що таке журналістська солідарність.
So, driving through 8 regions of Ukraine, I realized what means solidarity of your peers. Because in every region, I got calls and offers to host us, to help us. And it was a great feeling that you will get help anywhere you go.
Case of invasion, then we have invasion, then we have this war, and of course it's extremely hard because there are, I don't know, so many challenges that we wouldn't expect before, and it affects because you're stressful every day. You have to think, okay, if there's a air alarm, what do you do? And your journalists are working somewhere in the field. Should they go back? And if first days we're not sure, can we work from this office? But of course we realize the sickness of the wall. Okay, we can do it, but still it's not. You can't feel secure all the time.
День, за моєю інформацією, вони там просто живуть, дислокуються в приміщенні нашої редакції.
So the
Російські
newsroom
солдати.
premises were robbed. They took everything valuable, and he heard from his sources that Russians just stay there. They live there in their office.
– 35% в перші місяці, то перший місяць війни у нас рекламні доходи впали на 85-90%.
Yes, I have to say that war had great negative impact on our business. If we talk about the first year, the first months during pandemic when we had lockdown in the region, so we lost around 35% of our sales revenue. But if we talk about the war, the first months of the war, we lost 85-90% of the sales revenue.
Це безкоштовно завжди. І це мене просто, знаєте, так, я почала просто, працювати далі, там, і таке.
When the war started, she was so hopeless and she didn't know what to do, so she wanted to quit herself. But then part of the staff members were asking that we are willing to work for free, just don't stop doing this job. And it was kind of inspiration for her, and she stayed, and she started looking for funding to support her staff.
Ми намагаємося працювати з усіма нашими принт-медіа, онлайн-медіа, намагаємося розвиватися, але у нас є ще запас коштів, які ми отримали до війни. Це на цьому більшість тримається на сьогоднішній день.
So the financial component is quite complicated, meaning the newsprint prices raised twofold since the start of the war because they were buying newsprint from Belarus and from Russia. Now these channels are closed and they have to buy a European newsprint, which is twice as more expensive. So for the 6 months since the start of the war, this cost was very high. And he understands that to produce quality paper, it's not only the matter of the good newsprint, but also a matter of the good materials, journalistic materials. So he has to sustain his newsrooms, and he has to pay his people who were willing to work for free in the beginning of the war. But now they have families to feed, and they are either getting money here from this news organization, or they will find other places of employment. So that's another challenge for him. So he has to think of that kind of business model that can keep his newsroom working and can bring revenue. And he understands that probably if there are no other sources that he can find, he will have to close his newspapers.
After the war started, the media market is very weak, very weak. I think up to 20, as a most optimistic prognosis, up to 20% of media market is can involve from advertising or from the traditional revenue streams, and other 80% is are really from donors. And if donor leave Ukraine, and sometimes I don't know how independent media can exist during the war. And I think that we will have in Ukraine like news deserts where I think that we for now have news deserts where the audience have not access for independent media information.
Ukrainian media cannot live separately from its own society. We're really dependent on what's happening to people in Ukraine. If the war will keep going, the challenges will be increasing and increasing. All the initiatives, all the actions, all the strategies now I'm seeing in the market are more about buying some time.
So it's getting more difficult to remain in this business, in media business, and he thinks that many media professionals lost their jobs. They either had to quit, or the employer has no ability to pay. That's why they lost their jobs. It became more difficult to work in media business. Media в Україні.
Буде мати негативний. Від цього дуже важко буде відійти.
It will be very difficult to recover from the war.